YouTube, what's going on? This is Giancarlo, also known as Maestro G on YouTube here, and then also when I do different performances. So you're gonna do All-State. Congratulations. You're probably stressing out. What the heck is going on? How am I gonna do this? Am I gonna make it? Am I not gonna make it? Right? And luckily for you, you came across the best teacher of all time, or rather, the best cello teacher of all time. Right? Now, we're gonna do Schroeder number 47, which is for the ninth and 10th grade division. And what we're gonna do is, if there's a specific part in the video that you're looking for, then you can just look at the timestamps and just jump there. I'm gonna explain a couple things before, so if you don't want to hear this, you can just jump ahead. All right, I'm gonna do all this in one take. So if something doesn't, if it's not perfect, it is what it is. I'm just here to help give you tips and tricks to help you feel more confident in your playing. So the way this video is gonna work is one, it's this introduction that I'm making. I'm gonna add a few things towards the end of the video, so stick around for that. Some encouragement, some tips and tricks for auditioning. I'm gonna play through it once. We're gonna break down different sections, what I've seen in my students that's really stumped them, but also some common issues that I found here in others as well. And yeah, we'll just go from there. Okay, awesome. All right, so we're gonna talk about it. So if you noticed, was that perfect? No, not really, not at all. But I'm okay with that because the most important thing, one, to understand is the people on the other side who are listening to you understand that you are a human being. It's okay if you mess up. It's not a big deal. But it's not okay if you stop. You just want to keep going regardless of what happens anyways. So yeah, if you heard some of the notes, maybe like a few of them weren't right. Maybe there might have been a rhythm that wasn't good. Maybe I missed the dynamic. And that's okay. You just keep going. Because what the judges what they're looking for is, it's not, oh, they got everything perfect. No. That's not what they're looking for. What they're looking for is, can this student student play musically? Do they at least understand how to do this right with rhythm, dynamics, so on and so forth? And we're going to talk about all these things in a second. So let's talk about the first big issue that I've seen with my students personally. It's with the rhythm. Oh Lord, the rhythm. If you're a student, hey, I love you. If you're one of my students, I love y'all. But we got to subdivide, right? Subdivide, in case you've never heard of it, for whatever reason, it's when you just count in your head. You count the beats in your head as you're playing, as you're holding a note, whatever the case may be. So just looking at the first measure, right, you have a whole note. Reminder, this is in cut time. So it's going to feel twice as fast. So instead of counting your 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to say 1 and 2 and. So the first part is, you always want to subdivide when you're holding. That's the best time. So I think about it as, and it's going to come through this mic audio, so it's going to sound a little bit different. So you have 1 and 2 and 1. 1 and 2 and 1. So it's always important to subdivide that. I'm going to mark out maybe 2 to 4 spots where it changes. You got to be very careful about this. One of the most obvious spots that I'm seeing right now is when you jump to the second page, first line of the second page, right? Third measure, you have that dotted quarter note. So this is the second page of that etude, first line, third measure. When you have the C natural dotted quarter, that's a dotted quarter note, right? So it's going to feel different. In my head, I think of 3 fast eighth notes. I think 1, 2, 3, and then you move. 1, 2, 3, ba-dum. 1, 2, 3, ba-dum. So you have 1, 2, 3. Right? And then if there's any section in this part, if I'm talking and you happen to miss something or I went over it too fast, the awesome thing about YouTube is you can always just rewind, and you can also slow down the video in case you missed anything. Then the other part was when it changes, sometimes you have to, for example, the first line, the very first 2 measures, it's a whole note that you hold with with an eighth note, right? 1 and 2 and 1. E and a 2, E and a 1, right? Then if you look at the second line, first page, where we have the first 2 measures. Now it's a whole note and a quarter note. So the value is different. It's very tricky to change that subdivision on the spot. So don't get too comfortable and don't get too used to doing it one way. So you got to do 1 and 2 and 1. As opposed to 1 and 2 and 1. That's wrong. 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2E and a 1. We're going to go ahead and jump to the next section of what are some issues that can come up. So the other thing is the notes, right? A lot of my students, especially in the middle section of the first page, they just freeze. They're like, oh my gosh, like that's a lot of flats. That's a lot of changes in the music. I'm getting freaked out. It's way easier than it seems. So never be concerned about the notes. Just think about what the shape of your hand looks like. In other words, so if we look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th line of the first page, when you have that low F, that part, all right. So that part right there, it's very simple. Your hand is in first position, and then it's in third position. So what I mean, you have the first one, you extended, So just practice going from this position to third position. Then you have third position. So think more so about, I don't have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. I just need to go from position A to position B. And my hand just needs to get comfortable getting there. That's really the biggest thing. If you can do that, you'll be very, very comfortable once you practice that. It's not going to come overnight either. So yeah. So just think about it in blocks. Like blocks of the shape the shape of my hand is extended in first position here, and then it goes to third position, and it's not open, it's not extended, but it's closed, right? It's a closed position. So you have, then I'm gonna go get my hand to this next shape and play the notes in that next shape, because all of those are in the same position. Then you practice the next patch. The next patch is you have like 3.5, almost fourth position, except it's extended, or you can say fourth position, it's extended with a lower first finger. So you have, and then the next block is getting to 1.5 position, or where your first finger is in F natural. All right. Or second position, one of those two, but you get the point. So you go, so you just practice going from, don't practice you don't need to practice all those notes. You waste time. You want to be efficient with your time when you practice, right? Because I don't know about you, but if I don't have to practice longer than I need to, then I prefer to do that, because I also like doing things outside of playing cello. It just happens to be that I also like this and I'm good at it. So you just practice. Practice those positions and the shape of your hand matching the notes that you have to play. That's the best way to practice that, and you apply that to every other aspect. So yeah. You just go from first position to fourth position. You just practice going from one position to the next, and then you can practice that. All right. So let's say you have something that's a little bit more tricky, where your hand has to change, where you got a couple of shifts within the measure. So the last line, when you have the diminished arpeggio going down, so you have. You can do it that way. I do it another way. I just changed 3 for 4 at the F sharp. So I can just do 4-1, 4-1, but you don't have to do it that way. It's up to you. It really doesn't matter. So in that instance, you just want to practice going from block 1 to block 2. So block 1, which is block 2, because you moved positions. Block 3, because you got to extend. And then block 4, because you got to bring that extension back to first position. So you just want to practice with your left hand only your left hand, getting comfortable with those different positions. And then you'll feel much more confident when you add your bow to it. Always do your left hand. If it's issues with notes, then you don't need your bow to figure out how to play the notes. It's a left hand issue. All right. The other part that can be tricky, be very careful. The second to last measure can be deceptive, because most people would want to do. They'll want to go to the D instead of back to the G. So just keep an eye out for that. Just keep an eye out for that part, right? So we're gonna treat this like this is a lesson, right? So it's just gonna be raw, minimally edited, as if it were a lesson. You can always just fast forward with the button, or you can go back. And whatever we talk about for one measure, you can apply for every other measure. So that's why I'm not focusing, oh, let's do all the first page. Oh, let's do all the second page. No. I'm going to tell you how to do one measure, and then you use that, what you learned from that measure, and apply it to another measure somewhere else. The concept is still the same. So we're going to go to the next part, which is, I got my notes here. It's bow usage, how much bow you're using. A big issue that I've seen my students have is when they just run out of bow way too fast. They're holding the first note they're using too much bow for that first note. So by the time they try to get up there, they do. And it's like, I barely have any bow left. So what you want to do is first take note of, if we look at the first line, the crescendo doesn't happen until almost midway through the second measure. So there's really no reason that you would want to use a lot of bow for the first note, because it's just a whole note, right? So keep your bow moving slow, very relaxed. I just use about half. All right, I'm just exaggerating here. So you just want to use a little bit of bow. As you get closer to the top, you're going to want to speed it up. Think more so bow speed instead of bow weight. This is not a very heavy piece. When you change after that, you're going to really want to hold and play close to the bridge. The closer you play at the bridge, the slower your bow is going to move. Like, it's just forced to move slower because it requires more weight to play it. As opposed to if you play at the fingerboard or near the fingerboard, you can move your bow pretty fast, but you're not going to get the same sound at the bridge. You're going to need more of weight to it. And it forces your bow to move slower. So that's what I mean by just keeping it nice and steady in the beginning, and then speed it up, and then hold with weight near the bridge. As you get to the end of that part, you're going to want to make sure you slow down your bow. That's very, very important. You want to slow down your bow when you're coming down. For your dynamics, also goes into your dynamics. The stronger the dynamic it is, usually the faster or more bow you want to use. The softer the dynamic, the opposite. You just use less bow. So more bow. I'm going to use the same amount of weight, but I'm just going to use more bow. Then I'm going to use less bow, but the same amount of weight, still light. So you just got to slow things down. So you have... I still had this much bow that I could have used. Now for this example, I didn't, because I just wanted to get the point across. So you have, and I also have the mic in my way, so it's gonna be like a little bit uncomfortable with my positioning, but it's worth it as long as you guys get the message, right? Then you speed it up, and then hold near the bridge, and then slow down till you get here. Right? So on and so forth. That principle, right? That idea, it applies to everywhere throughout this piece whenever you see your hairpins. For example, if you go to the second page, the little hairpins that you see on the second line of the second page. All right, same thing. You just speed up and then you slow down when you come back. So just watch the bow again. It has nothing to do with your hand by any means. It has everything to do with your arm. Now, unfortunately, I don't have time to go super deep into detail as to like how to really control your arm. If you would like to find out, then by all means just drop it in the comments. I can make a video on that. But also, I do lessons. If you are in the Atlanta area, by all means you can reach out. And if you want to do online lessons, well, I already got this whole setup going on, so I'm also open to that. My email and contact info is in the description, socials, and all that stuff. So you can reach out to me there. Now, with the bow usage, when you get to this specific section, at first page, when we go back to the low F with all those accidentals, that part, right? You're going to want to use maybe, I would suggest, you don't have to take my word for it, I would suggest using 3/4 of your bow for that. So you have bum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-bum, right here, right? My beautiful singing voice, right? And then you want to use the eighth notes to help you get halfway, and then use the next 8 eighth notes with the rest of that bow. So you want to divide it evenly. You go 3/4, the 2 eighth notes bring you back halfway, and then the rest you can use in that way. My beautiful bow grip right here, as you can see. So I'm gonna try and do this in slow motion to show the example. So you have 1 and 2 and 3. About 3/4 of the way, halfway, and then you can use the rest right there. You don't have to go all the way back here. You can just get to anywhere around the balance point. Now, in real time, it's a different story. The concept still applies, but it's going to feel different because it's faster. So you have 3/4, halfway. That way you have a lot. You don't feel like you're running out of bow the whole time. Then you keep going. I think the only other part that I'll talk about for bow usage is at the end, when you have the G major arpeggio going up and then you have the diminished arpeggio going down. When you have, because you have the hairpins again. So if you remember correctly from earlier, you speed up when you have the crescendo, and then you slow down when you have the decrescendo. Now, you don't want to speed. You don't want to slow down as soon as you see the decrescendo, because the decrescendo goes, you're still high up, you're still at a strong volume. You're slowly making your way to a softer texture. So you're still strong here with whatever the following dynamic is. Then you slow down until you get to, and you start it again. You speed up. You slow down there. Slow your bow down. Okay, so that's that. Let me look at my notes. All right. The other thing is, so your dynamics is gonna make a huge difference. It'll separate you it'll be the difference between you and the majority of other people that are gonna be auditioning, because no one wants to hear a monotone, static, same kind of dynamic for every single measure kind of piece. Like that's just boring. So when you use your bow speed and you have that practice, that bow usage we talked about earlier, your dynamics are going to follow that. So you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, as the saying goes. Tips and tricks for your audition. Okay, everyone is different. I would not want a student to be discouraged, or to be overconfident right? You always want to be humble because you never know why something went the way that it went, whether it was good or it was bad. It may have been a fluke for a good reason. It may have been a fluke for a bad reason. You just don't know. So you want to just remain humble. On the day of the audition, you want to be warmed up, of course. Make sure that you're well rested. That's really important, yo. Make sure that you are well rested. I'm talking, don't stay up. You got your audition at 9 in the morning. Don't be staying up until 12 p.m., 1 a.m., watching a movie, playing video games, whatever. Like, just don't do that. You're going to mess yourself up. 9 times out of 10. There are some people that can manage that, but not most people are like that. So just eat well. Make sure you have a nice breakfast, and also mentally, I think the biggest thing that has helped me is mentally be okay if things don't go the way that you thought that they were gonna go. Cause life has I'm pretty sure everyone has experienced it at some point where you have something planned and everything is planned perfectly and it doesn't go the way that you want it to go. It's just what it is. It is what it is. So just be okay with whatever it is. As long as you've done the best that you can to prepare for it, then that's all you can do. That's really it. I don't want my students to be discouraged because, man, I've been practicing for months on end, and every single day for a few hours, or even just I used to practice 5 minutes a day. Now I started practicing 20 minutes a day. That's huge. That can be huge for some students, and that's totally okay. But you probably wouldn't have pushed yourself that far if it weren't for you wanting to take that audition. So you have already come to a point where you personally, the person watching this, and if you're working on this, or if you're doing any All-State audition, or any audition in general, you've pushed yourself and you've improved from who you were before because of the audition. And that's progress, which is the goal. You want progress. Not the results won't always reflect the progress. Now on the other side, you don't have to feel like, oh man, I have to be super perfect. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, they're not looking for perfection. That's not what they're looking for. Most students, most professionals, nobody can do everything right 100% of the time. But what a musician, a seasoned and veteran musician can tell is how well does a student understand this music in terms of can they play musically? Most people, most professionals are impressed by, are you able to tell a story? Are you able to play it in the correct style? As opposed to, wow, they did like the Dvorak double stops, right? If you know, you know. If you don't know, another way is, what if they did all these crazy things and they're moving around? Wow, that's so impressive. Like, that's cool, but can you tell a story? And, do the best that you can with this Etude. I hope that it's helpful. Like I said, this is going to be like, I'm speaking to y'all as if I was speaking to one of my students. And wanting to be very encouraging. That's pretty much it for the video. I'm going to mention a couple other things, but if you want to move on to something else, you're more than welcome to. I hope it was insightful. If you want me to do another one of these for another piece that you're working on, whether it's a classical piece or whatever it is, I do all different kinds of music. If you see my YouTube channel, I do a lot of pop covers. I like pop music. Don't stone me. I like pop music. I'm huge into hip hop, R&B. So whatever it is. And if you'd like to take a lesson with me, by all means, please reach out. I've got my information down in the description, or you can reach out to me on my socials. And if this helped, go ahead and do me a favor. The generic YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe. So that's pretty much it, y'all. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, emotional outbursts of any kind, you can go ahead and drop it in the comments. And I will catch y'all in the next one. I'm going to make another video for the middle school division etude. All right. Peace.